The most dangerous excitotoxins. If you're ever felt compelled to take another bite despite feeling full, the concern may not be a lack of self-control. In fact, the issue may not even be with you at all. It could be an excitotoxin. These non-essential amino acids stimulate or excite the umami or savory taste buds, making food seem more flavorful than it really is. These compounds are abundant in most processed foods and restaurant meals, and many people are unknowingly consuming these compounds in large amounts on a daily basis. Despite public outcry, processed foods remain loaded with excitotoxins, all of which have been linked to brain cell death. Reading that again. Excitotoxins have been linked to brain cell death. Okay? And then you have the aggressive behaviors, hormonal disorders, and so on. Excitotoxins have been linked to several adverse health effects, some of which may be irreversible. So you can have allergic reactions, rapid heartbeat, stomach cramping, but the most serious, depression and paranoia. Here is another site you could look up. Mental illness and mood disorders, the role of toxic chemicals. From 2018 by Erica Elliott. So, what she describes here. Alcohol is a socially acceptable toxin. When you are intoxicated, your brain is toxic. You cannot think clearly. Your speech is slurred. You make poor decisions. You stagger around with loss of balance and coordination, and you become emotionally unstable, maybe tearful or belligerent, and full of violent rage. Toxic chemicals can affect any part of the body. The brain often suffers the most damage. Many of the most toxic chemicals in our environment are lipophilic, which means that they have a strong attraction to fat. Over 60% of the brain is made of fat. And that's why eating animal fats is very beneficial to our brain. Numerous toxic pollutants interfere with the functioning of the brain and nervous system and can lead to psychiatric symptoms. And the problem is too few medical doctors and psychiatrists consider toxic chemicals as a cause or contributor to psychiatric symptoms and toxic encephalopathy. Toxic encephalopathy refers to pathological changes in the brain caused by exposure to neurotoxins, chemicals that harm the brain and nervous system. Neurotoxins cause inflammation that can lead to impairment of learning, new information, memory problems, and inability to concentrate. So-called ADHD, huh? Neurotoxins are also known to cause anxiety, depression, rage attacks, panic attacks, obsessive-compulsive and bipolar behavior, and even suicidal thoughts, and other signs of emotional instability. The neuropsychiatric symptoms are often preceded by a constellation of symptoms that can include chronic fatigue, headaches, lightheadedness, aches and pains, nightmares, insomnia, rashes, sinus pressure, burning eyes and blurred vision, asthma, and frequent upper respiratory infections. And then you go to a psychiatrist who will prescribe some whatever. But the real cause are excitotoxins. What are excitotoxins? Before 1969, the world knew nothing of excitotoxins because no one had noticed them. But in 1969, all that changed, and the existence of toxic amino acids became the best guarded secret of the food and drug industries. Today, excitotoxins remain largely ignored or unknown because the rich and powerful food and pharmaceutical industries want it that way. Because a great deal of food industry profit depends on substituting cheap excitotoxins for real food. And a great deal of pharmaceutical industry profit depends on selling pharmaceuticals to cure the disease and disability caused by food-based excitotoxins. Excitotoxins are amino acids with particular characteristics. Not all amino acids are excitotoxins. The ones in which we are immediately interested are glutamic acid, glutamate, and aspartic acid, aspartate, amino acids commonly added to processed foods. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein. Amino acids are what proteins are made of. Some amino acids function as neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters carry nerve impulses from one nerve to another and to non-nerve cells. They are the brain chemicals that move information from one cell to another. Neurotransmitters are either excitatory or inhibitory. Glutamic acid and aspartic acid are excitatory neurotransmitters, exciting the cells with which they communicate. Glutamic acid is the most common excitatory neurotransmitter in the central nervous system. Under certain circumstances, an excitatory neurotransmitter or group of excitatory neurotransmitters will fire repeatedly, overstimulating their receptor cells until their receptor cells die. The neurotransmitter that overstimulates its receptor cells is referred to as an excitotoxic neurotransmitter, and the resulting condition is referred to as excitotoxicity. Neurotransmitters are called excitotoxic when they overstimulate their receptor cells to the point of killing them. Let that sink in. Excessive glutamic acid and aspartic acid can overstimulate the brain and lead to excitotoxicity. Excitotoxicity has been implicated in certain chronic diseases including ischemic stroke, epilepsy, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Alzheimer's disease, Huntington disease. That's the most horrible disease I have ever seen with my own eyes. You don't want to have that ever. And Parkinson's disease. The term excitotoxin was coined in 1969 by Dr. John Olney after he observed the glutamic acid fed to laboratory animals killed brain cells and subsequently caused gross obesity. So there you have it. Obesity epidemic. And what are most people eating? As an excitotoxin, glutamic acid overstimulates brain cells and cells outside of the central nervous system to the point of killing them. Glutamic acid excitotoxicity is the process that underlies the damage done by monosodium glutamate and the other ingredients that contain processed free glutamic acid, MSG. Dictionary definitions of the term excitotoxins don't necessarily give you the whole picture, but there are a few taken from the internet accessed at 2016. So I'm not gonna dig up more of that. It's a good description here. An excitotoxin is any of a group of neurologically active compounds, including glutamate and aspartame, that in high concentrations have detrimental excitatory effects on the central nervous system and may cause injury to nerve cells. Real Food, Whole Health writes, an excitotoxin is a chemical that causes the brain cell to become overexcited and fire uncontrollably, leading to cell death. MSG and other excitotoxins like aspartame has the potential for inflicting permanent damage to the brain and nervous system. Killing off the brain, huh? These chemicals also cross the placental barrier, harming the brains of unborn children. I think it's a typo here. It should be a placental barrier. Anyway. So, next. Excitotoxicity, neuronal death resulting from increased intracellular glutamate. Neuronal ischemia leads to ATP loss and depolarization. ATP is energy produced by the mitochondria. Was glutamate release from synapses and subsequent overstimulation leading to sodium and calcium ion gate porosity. There you go. In regards to channelopathies. Oh, yeah, okay, so next one. Neuronal injury caused by excessive release of excitatory neurotransmitters, glutamate and aspartate, causing damage to nerve and glial cells, which occurs in diverse neurologic diseases that may be acute, e.g. hypoglycemia, seizures, stroke, or trauma or chronic neurodegenerative disease. Just be very, very aware of this. A great deal of pharmaceutical industry profit depends on selling pharmaceuticals to so-called cure the disease and disability caused by food-based excitotoxins. Okay? Got it? So all the push on these antidepressants, anxiety reducing whatever. Look at your diet. What is in your food? Then you can change that first and foremost. Your choice. Your choice to dodge these bullets.